too many times because there will be folks joining later on. So we are going to narrow our focus in on standardizing, sharing, and reusing reporting libraries. And I've kind of have a graphic to go along with the introduction. So within the reusable, it's called reusable reality. We have the aims of the triple aims of the customer, which is to improve health outcomes, improve health care, and reduce cost. And our objective is to help our customer better understand some of the requirements for intelligence, specifically with reporting. And they would like us to basically give them a menu and help them understand, make it more tangible what these reporting libraries are. So that's our objective and goal. And then the next item, we've kind of talked about this a couple times. If you want, I would like, if I could, to just kind of jump right into the project management aspect of this. You may have gotten a chance to take a look at it, but we have an initial wish list of things that we need and would like to do. And you'll see that I've categorized them basically in the 4 areas. There may be other ones, but style and behavior, which hopefully should be 0-point stories, and I'll explain that later. If we identify a reusable report, which I have this icon with a pie chart there, if we understand their data standards, we should be able to leverage the very rich, beautiful behaviors and style that come with these report libraries. So, we've got a product backlog item of those, and then would like to go under sprint planning and tasking. And Gautam, are you familiar with? Have you ever worked in an agile Scrum environment before?
No, but I know the process involved.
You've not done that before, but but on the other hand, you haven't gone through a long stovepiped SDLC. So you'll, if you ever want, we can kind of back up and talk about conceptually how the project management of this works. But most simply put, we have a wish list. If we could wave our magic wand, all these things in the product backlog would be done. I've not listed them in terms of dependency. We'll talk about that when we get to the planning. But in our perfect world, we would have reusable reporting libraries. And these are all the wish list things that we have. Samant would like to see what D3 would look like. Here's an example of one. Ashish would like to see what Fusion Charts would look like. Here's an example of his. Gautam would like to, he's got a cool report library, c3js.org. And then, for me, just it's a hobby, just curious about a Dojo toolkit. But in order to be able to have these rich, we want these shareable and reusable libraries. We need to have some place to put it up there. I've got a GitHub icon. I just put that there as a placeholder. I will replace that with whatever we end up doing. But this is the most important part here. Without collaboration, our project will fail. In fact, let me switch over to edit mode. So this is our big story that we really need to get tasked.
Tony, I do not want it to be GitHub, which is open.
Sure.
At the moment, we do not have. We haven't done. It's just that we need to have something there before we actually,
Okay.
Get
the task
or get feedback from others.
Okay. So, do you know of anyone? So, do you already know the one other than GitHub that you want?
No, I want it to be intranet, at least for the time being. And
okay.
We'll have something, and then we can push it onto the GitHub later on.
No problem. So, do you know how to do that?
Yes. So
okay, cool.
We can actually have it use SourceSafe or any other.
All right. Once this thing is set up, I have open source libraries that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. They have been developed on federal projects, so the only way I can share them with you is through a public open source item. I can't just give it privately to action on. So whatever you set up, just let me know, and so we can just build it all from scratch too. But set up some environment, and which one do you
You're
want?
saying it's an open source, right?
Um,
Those items, whatever you're
yeah,
talking about?
the items that I did, they were part of they were federally funded, so I can share them with other projects, so long as that it's shared open source. I can't just take things from a federal project and give it to one person. It has to be um, equal access. Obviously, we'll know more, and we don't have to reuse that stuff too. The reporting stuff that we're going to do is way cooler than any of the things I've done, so it's not a big loss. What is the name of the environment? You're going to set up a Visual Source Safe?
Yeah, but I just a second.
All right, and then I'm going to write acceptance criteria.
I'm going to use Subversion.
Okay.
And that would be internet hosted.
Okay, and how do I call this? What's it called again? How do I spell it? Subversion?
S-U-B, yeah.
And the other thing too, and have not gotten around to it just yet, but I'm going to show you kind of the techniques for as we start to take the reports apart. Some tools that you can use to kind of very quickly isolate the items that we want to learn more about, so we can kind of learn more about it before we have to go through all those steps to compile it and stuff. So.
Okay.
That will all make sense after after we have the collaboration environment set up.
Okay.
All right. All right. Discover, retrieve, commit. All right. And then I'm loosely going to put this in here. I think our acceptance criteria for the collaboration environment is we probably want to do discover, retrieve, and diff.
Yes, you will have all those in
Okay.
Subversion.
And, so I'm going to and what I'm going to do is I am going to create a use case of, I'm going to give you some really good examples to test this out on. So we can so once you have it set up, I'm going to have a couple files. I'm going to see if you could commit, and then I'm going to do a change. Like I'm going to ask you to do a change just so we can kind of see how it all works, because I know fundamentally they all do the same thing. It just I like to do one quick walkthrough so I get that down. So, all right. So this one right here, this is. Would you agree that this is our most important one? It's like our collaboration environment. So
Yes,
right.
we will have a collab. Yes.
So because after collaboration environment, a bunch of other things get easier. So now I want to step back and what I would like to do is I don't want to set the bar too high and cause frustration. I also don't want to set the bar too low and cause you to be bored. So, as long as we have the most important one in there, I wanted to just kind of talk about a couple of the other product backlog items, and then this is here with the Agile. If there's something, what I'd like to do is in a 2-week sprint, if you feel that you can accomplish more, kind of have one set up that you can pull in. So backing up, we have these 4 report libraries. Gotham, my guess is you would be the most interested if if it was just going by you. Which of these reporting libraries? I'm guessing this reporting library, the C3JS, would be the one that you'd be most interested in experimenting with. Is that correct?
That's correct, but
Okay, and it's
before we actually go through all the, just going through each of the libraries, I just want to have a quick.
Oh, sure.
Like before we even start working on the libraries, it's
okay,
more
yeah. If I
related
could give
to
you,
like what kind of charts we have.
that
And,
would be great.
what are the different.
I'll walk through that, and then after that, we'll have to hit it again a little bit later. I want to show you some of the tools that we have to kind of take it apart. So, so before I will, let me do a quick. I'll do a 5-minute overview of these reporting libraries. Before I get into it, though, I just want to go back to our foundational knowledge. All these reports are basically only have 3 components, and these are the 3 components that we need to isolate and control. We need to know how to isolate and control the data, and that's really the most important part. There are some behaviors, but if we can isolate and control the data very correctly, we shouldn't have to do any code modification or very little code modification to their behaviors. Or JavaScript functions might be a legacy way of saying that one. And we should just get the behaviors for free. So what does that mean? Let me show an example of that. So we'll start off with the one that I've spent the most with, but then I can show you the analogies on all the others. So before we get into this one, intelligence, if the working knowledge that we're going with on this project is intelligence it's a great thing, but it's also a frustrating thing. You only get intelligence when you have 2 examples. So that's why in our sprint we have to have 2. We can't just put in Gotham's idea or Tony's idea. We have to have 2 in order to be able to compare. What this diagram means right here. So when we start this work, and this is the frustrating part of the project, we will have no intelligence standards to begin with. We know that they exist. We know that they exist because I just showed you them on this page. But we haven't had any experience with it, so this is the frustrating part because we're going to kind of skip over these standards, but you and I, we are going to, after we have the collaboration environment, I'm going to show you kind of how to deconstruct these with the tool and kind of isolate the data and be able to kind of grab control of the data shape that's required, and you'll know what a data shape looks like when I show you how to take them apart if you don't know it already.
Is it, before you go further, can you actually put the link in the the collaboration place where
you want a link to what would you like a link to?
The presentation.
Oh, this presentation, sure.
The presentation.
This one right here.
Yeah, just the presentation.
Yes, but I'll put in the presentation, but I'm also going to just download this ping too, because this is the one we'll probably reference a lot. But then I'll also have the link. Share.
Okay.
Copy link. There's a lot of slides in here, so this is my personal SharePoint, so I'm going to just basically, okay. I reorganize my slides based on who I'm talking to. So I'm going to, I'll put this one in. Okay. That was an action item you gave to me, and I'm going to complete it. Done. Link to Rux. All right, so I did put that link in there. This is the slide, though, I want us to be aware of, because you will feel frustrated. You will feel frustrated right here. Frustration happens at invention. So it's going to happen in the beginning when we're saying, geez, gee willikers, how do I understand this report? What is a data shape? What is geometric math? What's Bayesian notation? Will be frustrating things, and as the light bulb turns on. And then hopefully this won't, but we'll be taking the burden of the frustration before the developers do any work. From there, we are going to, after we figure it out, we're going to be able to isolate those three components: the data, the style, the behaviors. Not that we want to, but we know how to isolate them. And then we'll have a model I block, where you can drag and drop this thing in there. So we will be able to show the developers, we would be able to help the customer understand what things could look like, because we're using the real code. And then also we would be able to provide pointers to the developers on how to isolate the data, because they're going to want our exact same code, but they're going to obviously want to replace our dummy data with their real data. And so if we have done some research ahead of time, we could say, this is what the data has to be shaped like, and if it isn't shaped this way, don't try to integrate with the report. So we can kind of do that. Well, that's more frustration, and this is where we need to have basically two examples, and at least two. A purple is, and kind of back up, this is the golden wheel of reusability. If you stay in this golden wheel, your project just gets smarter and more intelligent with less work. It's just kind of compounding interest. It just kind of builds on itself. But just because you do the same thing all the time doesn't mean it's right, and sometimes it's good to experiment. And that's kind of this purple angle right here. So we might have 4 reporting ideas. They might all be spectacular too. We don't know, but we'll need to compare them. After we at least implement 2, we can look between the 2 of them. And in Agile, we always ask at the end of a sprint these 2 questions, and these are the questions that we will ask once every 2 weeks. Based on the things that we implemented, what are the things that we like and we want more of? What are the things that we don't like and we want less of? Those things that we want more of, feedback into standards, and we say, okay, we want more of whatever it is. Well, we know as we go forward, we're always going to follow this standard because it just makes things easier. And as we build up our capabilities, we'll eventually find that we're doing less of these frustrating purple loops and more of these just kind of real enjoyable golden reusable wheel of reusable reality. So that's a high level there, but then I don't want to get too theoretical because we only have about an hour left. I want to jump into this reporting library, kind of help you, talk about, narrate what they are, and then we can kind of go back in terms of code, kind of what it looks like to pull it apart. And again, this code thing will be so much easier once we have this environment up there. The way I like to work with sharing is copy, paste, alter. I want to be able to put together an example and start experimenting with us altering each other's work. I think that's the quickest way to learn it. But anyways, let's here's a. Yes. But you're like so you
before we actually look.
Sure.
Before we actually even look at all the libraries, before anything, I mean, there are so many different types of charts, and each of these charts have, they can be used for specific purposes, like a scatter plot or a bubble chart are used to describe relationships, and then but a distribution chart, like for a histogram or a scatter chart, they can be used for distribution purposes, like for a pie chart, they use for a simple share of the total. So
and you're exposing you're exposing the classic issue, which is we've got in that first part, and this is why it's so frustrating. In this first part, we don't really know. We have no intelligent standards. We have no intelligence. We don't know what the customer wants. The customer doesn't know what they want, and the customer will really only know what they want until they kind of start. The customer is basically said that they're very intelligent, and they have said that when they see it, they'll let us know. They don't tell us what they want from the UI. They just say that they want it better. So this first one, it's really I'm going to empower you to pick whichever chart you just happen to find the most interesting. We only get 2 weeks to work on it.
No,
but
no, Tony.
Sure.
No. I don't want to pick up a chart right at the initially. I want to take all the charts and see what kind of chart can be used uh, for those specific purposes. And then after that, if we zero on, then let's say we're working on distribution types of, in a category called distribution. There's so many, like column histogram, line
Okay.
histogram, scatter plot, 3D area chart. These are only the 4 different types.
Okay. Well,
But there are so many others. I want to
if that's the case,
categorize all
then
of them as one single distribution, and then we'll go on individually start working on like distribution area of these charts and where are they used, what can be used, and then after that, if we have that particular stuff together in a particular document or in a particular collaboration place where we kind of get the idea, then we can take, let's say, a column histogram, and then we can type to see
okay.
what kind of
How can
libraries are used.
what phrasing can I put on that one? I want to write that task up. I don't think I have it represented here. Do you want to kind of just do a discovery? Like,
No,
so for example, the customers.
it's like a starter thought. It's like different types of chart suggestions based on the types of variables that are there.
Yes.
So like if
Do you have one in particular?
certain data is like for a distribution, certain types of data, right?
Mm-hmm.
Certain things are like comparison of 2 different things. So if we identify charts based on those particular categories and get the list of them, then we can actually get an idea of, okay, we'll go ahead and then do these kind of things first. Before
we have these we have these list of charts. They're so C3JS was nice enough. Just they listed all their charts right here under their examples page.
Yes, but C3.js there are only about 8 of them, but if you categorize them, there are probably about 40, 50 types of graphs. C3.js doesn't cover 50 graphs.
Yep, and so
so customer would not know. Customer doesn't need to choose between just about 10 graphs. If there are about 50 graphs, they can choose among 50 of them, right?
Yes, as our library grows,
So
my vision is as our library grows, the customer will be able to choose any graph at any time. So the customer could say, what would a line chart look like? And not only could they do view details, but they could say they would have the ability to say, instead of data 2, call it data whatever. You know, like they start to see something and they respond to it. So this first goal is kind of just a hello world one, and this one is really this one I hate to even get into it too much because I think having an environment set up where we can collaborate is a fantastic accomplishment for the first sprint, and I'm concerned of overloading it and making the sprint fail. So my first question is, if you had 2 weeks, could you set up a collaboration environment that does discovery, retrieve, diff, commit? Oh, and also, I guess since you're going to do it on Subversion, you have to put together some administrative guide too, right?
Yes.
Account administration. That's like a separate story.
So okay,
we could do like Tony Goth. I'll help you on that one. That one I can do. If you I have no problem like be on your Siri if I can just ask you questions. I have no problem typing it up. But right the count. Which is at count. I don't know if there's anything else in the job aid. So if in 2 weeks we can add new accounts, log in. I'm thinking that's the
Okay. To set up actually a collaboration site in ActionNet, we need a static IP.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do need a static IP, that means that we need to have a physical computer where we have all these things set up. Like
Okay.
let's say there is an IP called 10.10.2.34. That would be the IP for, you can actually set up a website there. You can set up SVN or Subversion,
I've
and
got
all
I
these
have
things
a
can
I have
happen
a
on that
box
particular
already
box.
for you. I've got a box already for you. Static IP address. Let me give you
Okay.
that one. Uh, I will give you the credentials. I don't have that on me right now, but I can give that to you via email or something like that immediately after this.
It's 10.10.2.36.
Do you
26.
see it? Yeah. So this is our this has an internal and an external number. So
Okay.
so this so oh yeah, so this is the part where there's external, so like outside it's one and it's inside it's another, but so there's an internal and external IP address. So I guess one is 50 dot, and I guess that's
Okay.
if you're upstairs it's 50 dot something, and if you're downstairs it's 10 dot something, but it still goes to the same server.
Okay.
Does that
We
make sense to you? I know that sounds
yes.
weird to me. Okay, good. Like
Can we actually? I mean, is it possible to send it over the email? All
yeah,
these
yes,
all
it
these
is.
things.
My only restriction is that it's about the information I need to give to you is about 75 feet from me, and I can't move. But I will send you this. This is you know how to do remote desktop?
Yes, I do know. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's remote desktop, and if you are within the network, that 10 dot number will get you in there. I will.
No. All these, the list of things, Tony, like the IP address, the information about
Oh yes,
probably
you
the
want all
action
this
items,
stuff in
all
one
those
email.
things.
I'll put this together in one
Yes.
email for you. Yes. I will add
Okay.
that as a to-do item for me. Another action item.
Okay.
All right. So, all right, you got one on there that I wasn't able to do in the call. All right.
And also, I've sent an email earlier for the job codes.
Well,
I
I
mean,
just
I
sent that
know
to you.
those two
We'll
job
start
codes,
off with
but
landing page, and then later on we'll start
okay.
using. But landing page, make it nice and simple.
Okay. Can you actually, I mean, say that over the, I mean, confirm it over the email? It would be
Yes, you
better.
should have that. Yes, I
Okay.
sent that like right as we were logging in. Sent it to you 11:07.
Okay. I haven't seen it. All right. Thank you.
Send admin. Oh, no worries. Send. Server information.
Server information
Or
also, the
package up server access admin
and
info.
action items for the sprint for the next 2 weeks.
Yes. Well, and I'll put that in there. Info for send. Okay, I understand what this means, even though that doesn't look like English that I'm writing. I'll get that. Sprint tasking. So this is all we're doing today is sprint planning. We'll come back and we'll do story tasking. That's really only if it's needed. I think at this point, send out sprint planning. All right. Other things that we need to do, we need to have just kind of a weekly working session. Just check in, for an hour. We don't even have to talk if you don't want, but I just like to have just at least co-locate, once a week. Wednesdays are usually good for me. and we can just kind of co-locate. We'll definitely you'll see the benefit of that in the very beginning once we get that subversion environment set up, and then after that we can be very flexible with the location. So.
Okay. I will actually update you. Once.
All right, so I can
Probably
assign this
if
to you.
I'm done with the task.
Okay.
So if ever, whatever stuff that I'm doing, if I complete a task, I will definitely send you an update
Okay.
with whatever I've completed.
Okay. And then my thought is, so this is sprint 0. Right now we're sprint planning, so figure out when we want to kick this thing off. My thought is Wednesdays is a good day to kick off sprints because your brain's not foggy from the weekend. You're kind of in a mid-stride. So I like the idea. I'm proposing you're charging your time. We're planning, on it. But let's start our...
Wednesday is, I do have a meeting on Wednesdays, so
Okay.
alternate Wednesdays. So is it possible if we can meet on Tuesday evenings or
Okay,
sometime
Tuesday in the
that
afternoon.
Tuesday afternoons,
Tuesday
around
afternoon,
3 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
I can start doing that. I would miss this week. After that, I can start doing that one.
Okay, so yeah. Okay.
So, do you have? Can we connect on Wednesday for like 30 minutes just to kick it off? And basically,
Sure.
all it is
This
just to make
Wednesday.
sure. I'm going to have just confirming that our list of all the. I'm going to send out this email, and on Wednesday, I just want to confirm. Hey, here's the list of what we have. If we get a chance to collaborate, if there's any, if it turns out that server that I gave to you and I'm like, hey, guess what, everything's perfect, and I threw it over the wall and it's not, I would like to find that out on Wednesday if possible. So
Wednesday,
if we start off...
Wednesday I have a meeting from 2:30 to 3:30 or 4 o'clock, depending on the...
Okay.
So if we can...
So Wednesday's a busy day for you.
11 o'clock.
Okay. All right. All right, so this week, this is special. So this week, we're going to try to avoid Wednesdays, but special, just as special for this being a project kickoff thing. We'll kick it off on November 5th. What time? You said 10:30?
11 o'clock. 11 o'clock would be fine. Actually, no. Sorry, I have a meeting from 10:30 to 11:30.
All right, I got to arm wrestle before I get Wednesday meetings. I get it. What about Thursdays? Just this Thursday. Just this Thursday. I'm not talking for everyone. Okay. What Thursday?
This Thursday, I can definitely meet at 11 o'clock.
Let's make it this Thursday. And then part of what our part of the Agile is, after 2 weeks, there's some questions that we're going to have to ask ourselves over the 2 weeks of the things that we worked on. What went well? What should we do more of? What did not go well, and what should we try to avoid? And I'm guessing figuring out time and schedule will be one of our topics. We try to get our cadence on. So can you do 11 a.m. to 12 p.m.? If you can do more, that's better. That's great, but it's I think that's just to kick us, that 1 hour kickoff I think is good because I think a lot of this stuff is going to be, you're going to have to get familiar with that server. You're going to probably run into a bunch of impediments. So I don't know if you'll be able to do a full hour of efficient work or if you'll be in that mode where you work for like 15 minutes and then you find out another roadblock since it's a new environment for you. Speaking about the server. So anyway, so we got that. Okay, excellent. So background, green. Okay, demo and retrospective. So as I talked, when we are done, so 2 weeks from when we kick it off, would be November 27th. Okay. Crikey, that's just before Thanksgiving too, huh? Let's end the sprint. Let's end it early. Can we end it on the? You said it's Tuesday, the 18th, available for you?
Yes, Tony. Yeah. So I want to meet on Tuesdays afternoons.
Okay, and that'll be, so that'll be our
So,
standard one, anyways. Per,
okay.
perfect. Okay,
So I want to meet on every Tuesday afternoon.
every Tuesday afternoon, you got it. Be get the first Tuesday. So this week's kind of a goofy one, but we'll start. So it'll be every 11th and 10th. The sprint will end on the or 18th. What time?
Okay.
Is that all day, or what do you want?
In the afternoon.
2:30 to 4:30 or something?
Yeah. Yeah. 2:30 to 4:30 is good time.
All right. Let me run through. This is what wasn't good is you were successful in assigning work to me. I thought I was going to be all perfectly prepared, but I guess I was not prepared. I did not have the server environment all documented and prepared for you, so I got to do some of that. But we did. Let's see. We scheduled a kickoff. We just did it. We have a working session this Thursday. We're going to kick off. This is just kind of a funky time and just before Thanksgiving. And then we'll have a working session the following week on Tuesday, which will be our standard get-together. And then on the 18th, we're going to demo our work. What we are attempting to do now is by November 18th, at a minimum, it will be a successful sprint if Gotham's able to set up this collaboration environment. You know, he's got to learn how to get this environment set up. I got to give you this credentials and all that stuff. And then after that, we just need to be able to document it. So as we grow, we're able to bring in more folks. If we find that this has been all accomplished by this Thursday, we can have we can declare victory and kind of replan more items for the sprint. And this, do not feel restricted by this. If you feel strong, if you already have this stuff done and you feel strongly about doing something, do not, feel free to say, hey, I would like to add these items to it, but also don't feel restricted. As long as as long as we succeed on 1 and 2, I don't care what else we do. I want to have flexibility for doing a couple of those purple branches. Then I guess later on, this is sprint task. I'm going to kind of this more granular, but this is kind of the test cases. As a collaborator, I'd want to contribute code files or update code files. I'm going to put in more specifics on that for our testing. And then at the higher level, and this is what we'll do with our discovery later on, is stories for managers. As a manager, we want to have the ability to see how their data could look like if they use report X or report Y. And report X or Y will come with the standard default data, and then they can say, okay, instead of data 1, let's just say data 1's high and data 2 is low. The customer's pretty acutely aware of the images. Once they find the images, they feel very comfortable with navigating us through the text. So we'd like to have that. This is the data one, so I haven't quite figured this one out. But as a question mark, I want to understand the data integration gap between the report data model, saying you have to have data set up this way, and the present state logical model of landing page. We want to understand that certain reports, if they look nice, we want to know ahead of time that the report that we think looks nice has a gap with our data. That's very excellent information to be receiving this early in the project. And then lastly, as a solution architect, I want all this stuff to be as easy as drag and drop. So I want, at the end of the day, I want us to have a menu, be a fast food restaurant with 50 reports, maybe 100 reports on there, and anything the customer says, I'm not sure if I want that report or not. I want to have the ability to say, well, let's see, and I want to be able to drag and drop that thing and let the customer be able to react to a simulation of what their idea could look like, as opposed to having the discussion just at the narrative level. So that's the, we get to that last part, and we're at the golden wheel of reality. Because if we have the most beautiful standard and the easiest one to implement, then that's probably got to be the direction where we go. We need to